Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, this is Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. I'm here in my hotel room here in Cincinnati. And you know the websites, JackieKashian.com, dorkforest.com, thedorkforest.com. You know the credits. The credits are kind of interesting this episode, but let's do it. Patrick Brady, he's going to fix the audio. That's right. Mike Ruekberg just sang the songs you just heard. And sitting in my hotel room is the guy that fixes my website. Just did a nice little redo of the front page that you will enjoy. Vilmos, welcome to the program.
Wow. I can't believe it. I'm actually nervous.
Are you nervous?
I am, because I never dreamed I would get here. Actually, I've never listened to this any farther
been
than
in the same room together our lives.
Yeah, I always worry that you're going to get the creep factor with me somehow.
Oh,
because
really? So you try to keep your distance?
Honestly, I really do, because I mean, we met briefly once at the club at Wits End in Denver.
Right, when you were booking that club.
Right, when I was booking the club.
Because you're a comic, Vilmos, and
Yep.
what besides the fact that your website is consistently linked on the notes, why don't we tell people?
I am the host of the Green Room.
Green Room Radio, right?
Greenroomradio.net is the website.
Okay.
Which now we're trying to become an online area so you can hear comics talk about stuff.
That's right, because you fix my website, so
Yes.
you know how to do HTML, and you've created this forum on your website, right?
Yeah. What I did was I started doing the Green Room in 2008 in April to promote stuff for the show for Wits End.
Oh, right. You were interviewing the comics that would come through Wits End. That's how we first talked.
Exactly. And then what I decided to do was, after I left the club, I decided to start doing more shows for different clubs, because I could no longer do Wits End.
I think that seems, after you leave working with the club, try not to do their podcast anymore.
Especially under the manner of which I left, which, not only were bridges burned, there was gas poured on them, and then somebody pissed on the fire.
Marines? It wasn't Marines. Was
it was awful.
Okay.
It was bad. So I started doing it for other clubs, and then I got to the point where I'm doing it for 4 clubs now, and I thought, well, that's not enough.
Are you doing it for 4 clubs now?
I do it for 4 different clubs now.
Now, I know you do it for the Tucson Club, because I've done that a couple of times.
Yep.
What's the other ones?
I do it for Morty's Comedy Joint in Indianapolis.
Booked by Steve Hofstetter,
yes,
I just found out.
The great Steve Hofstetter.
Right, who also has a club out in Queens, I found out.
Yeah. He's starting a Laughing Skullish type club, because
he called it the Laughing Devil.
Right. Because
I don't approve of that.
I think
you do what you can. He's a marketing genius, Steve Hofstetter.
That dude has a presence on the internet that we should all envy.
He's
really.
Essentially a more personable Kyle Cease.
Okay, I've never met Kyle, but I believe you if you say so.
Remember, he was doing those he would do these things where comics could pay him to learn how to do stand-up comedy.
Is that the one that what's his name hates so bad? Stanhope.
Oh yeah,
they had the fantastic picture on the blog of the clowns carrying the casket.
I did not see that picture.
Dude, that's a fantastic picture. If you
Doug
put
Stanhope, always a charmer, and the most obnoxious charmer in the world. Like, they're still friends. It's Kyle Cease
are
and
they
Doug
really?
Stanhope. They're still, or at least, they talk and stuff.
He threw him under the bus in that blog in such a major way.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why he'd even want to be his friend anymore.
Well, it was $4,000 to take his seminar.
Yeah, and it was honestly, in my opinion.
With Louis Anderson.
Yeah, in my opinion, no one should pay money like that.
Anyone.
Yeah, there's no one worth it.
If you want to do stand-up comedy and you can't just make yourself go to an open mic for free forever.
Yeah.
If you need to pay someone, try not to pay anyone more than like $250. Like $250 for like 8 weeks or something like that, where, what you end up doing is you're paying someone to make you go on stage and learn some mic skills and say things out loud into a microphone. And then they usually end that type of thing with a showcase at the local club.
Yeah.
Those are most comedy classes that I've seen anyway, right?
Right.
And I actually don't have a problem with that. If you have a hard time just going to an open mic and doing it, go for it. Because, there's always this backlash about that kind of stuff, those comedy classes, because it can be free. And most of us did it.
Yeah. Well, when I started out at Jeff Valdez's Comedy Corner at
Where's
the time in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
Jeff Valdez was a comic.
Right.
Who now is, I think he's still president of CTV. Is he, CTV? SITV? It's a cable channel.
Okay.
And he was, I think, the original president. But anyway, he had this club. He'd been there for years and years and years. And they had a workshop every Sunday night.
Okay.
And I went, and Judy Brown, the great Judy Brown Marmel.
Right.
Was running the workshop. She was kind of the overseer of it. She wasn't married to Steve Marmel at that time.
I'm sure they were dating.
Maybe. I might have actually been before the Marmel dating times, believe it or not. I started in 90. I started in 92.
Right. I think they were dating from 90.
Oh, okay. Well.
But I don't know that. Because, I started doing stand-up with Marmel.
Oh, well, yeah.
I started at the same time in Madison.
Marmel, fantastic comic. I used to love the way he used to, on purpose, alienate the audience just to bring them back later.
I never loved that about him.
No, I like to see him do it. I could never have
it. It is a train wreck that you could kind of watch and go, I hope I'll find a foot. But it's like, it was always something where I was like, I can't, Steve. And, but he was an amazing, like he had been doing it a couple of years before me because we went to college together. And, he was a good comic right from the get-go because he's always been a really, really good writer.
Yeah.
And it was great to watch him when I first started doing it because the first comic I ever saw was Kinnison. And then it was Marmel that I worked with. And then Marmel and a guy named Eric Alver and Jim Olsky and Hannes Finney. There were a bunch of guys, right? And then there was me.
Uh-huh.
And Marmel was pretty much the best of us, I would say. And he had sort of been doing it a little bit in Chicago. So he was always a treat to watch, but he would alienate. He would just do it on purpose to the point where I was like, all right, Andy Kaufman, I can't. And, cause he's such a great writer.
Board. He had the Splano board he would get out.
Yeah.
And he would just say, well, let me get out the old Splano board. And he would do the thing where he's like pulling down the big board from the top.
Right.
And he'd take the mic stand and he'd point at the very bottom of the floor and go, this is where your people's intelligence level is. And this is where mine is. And he'd point all the way to the top just to piss him off.
Right. So, and then he would jump into a hole and then get himself out of it. And,
It really got to give the guy credit for that. But,
completely.
But I can understand it being uncomfortable to watch, and I only watched it a couple times.
Right. I mean, easily the 12th, 100th time that you've watched him do it, you're just like, just do another joke. They'll get it eventually. Just keep going. But it was a fun game for him.
Sure, and that's it. So I start in that club.
Yeah.
And then as things move on, you progress, and I don't remember why I even brought that up. I apologize.
Oh, did you? But was it a paid seminar kind of thing?
The paid seminar, the workshop. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, what's the workshop?
No, we didn't pay.
Okay.
We went in every week, and you had guys that never worked before telling you how to do comedy.
Oh.
Which was kind of weird. But then what happened, the legacy of the workshop was the guys that did make it out.
Yeah.
And the guys that I started out with, really, nobody's ever heard of them. I mean, there really weren't any, like, bigger, more well-known comics. Tim McIntire, who now owns Motley's in Boston.
Okay.
He's one of the guys that came out of there. And a couple other guys that really kind of don't even do comedy anymore. But Tim's probably the guy that made it most. They would come back and do stuff in the workshop to help you. So that when I went out, I came back and helped the open mic guys. Yeah. So that's kind of how the workshop worked.
Yeah, and I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That's where you give back a little bit. There's my home club in Minneapolis, the open mic there is incredibly supportive. The whole stand-up scene there is just so great and so supportive that you want to give back once you, and I don't give back. No,
you do.
They don't do it. They don't do anything like that, but I would do that. But Maria, when she goes back there, sometimes she'll do like a seminar open mic-y kind of thing on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Where everybody can just come and it's like a fake open mic. Maria loves a fake open mic, sort of a in the living room kind of open mic, the most supportive open mic ever.
Yeah.
Where she likes it. It's when we play Joke Machine. It's like you do a new bit that you're working on, I'll do a new bit that I'm working on, and if you can tag them, you tag them.
Right.
And it's a win if you get to play with Maria Bamford and she tags your fucking jokes, because that's awesome, And me, that's right.
That's right.
I'll tag one of hers.
No,
it's all good. So you started there in 92?
I started there in 92, and my first paid gig was in the Vale area with
Okay.
Mitch Hedberg and Tre.
Wow. Was Hedberg featuring?
Hedberg was featuring, and Tre. Did you remember
Closing.
Tre?
I know Tre.
Yeah, I have not
Tre. I've
seen
met
him in
Tre.
years.
Right.
But yeah, he was closing, and it was really a weird.
I gotta link Tre. I gotta find Tre on the internet and link him.
You know what? He's not out there.
He's not doing it.
No, his real name is Michael West.
Okay.
Okay, and if you look up Michael West, I've seen, because I've looked him up.
Right.
I've
Because you're like, where the hell is Tre?
Yeah, exactly.
The nicest guy in the world,
Dude,
man.
he's got, his stage persona was this
Gruff, Mr. Clean.
biker,
Yeah.
all leather, and he would stand up there and he'd do the alpha male thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going someplace and he's like, God, I wish I was antiquing with my wife. What are you
Yeah, just
doing?
the sweetest guy in the world off stage. I only worked with him once.
Oh.
So, I mean, we just met, essentially. It's like Geraldo. I knew him a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because we worked together 2 weeks, and then I would see him occasionally.
Sure.
But, you meet comics, and you're like, well, I know the guy, but I don't know the guy. You know?
Well, and so I get weird in this weird, really strange thing. And, I don't know if I should probably say this, but it's true.
Sure.
I go to I'm supposed to pick him up. This is my first gig. I know absolutely nothing about comedy, right?
You do know that you're supposed to pick up the headliner. though.
I have to pick him up, so I call Alan, who is Judy Brown's, guy on the ground, so to speak, in Colorado Springs. And he says, yeah, call this number and they'll make arrangements and you can go pick him up and you guys can go to where you're going. Right. Great. So I call and Tre answers the phone and I go, hi, this is Vilmos. I'm calling to pick you up. He goes, we aren't going.
What?
I go, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we're not going. All right, fine. So I hang up the phone. I call back Alan. I go, look, dude, they said they're not going. What do I do now? Just, no, don't worry about it. Just give it a few minutes, call him back, and we'll take care of it. Yeah. So I call back in about 5 minutes, and I said, hey, Tre, this is Vilmos, and I'm just, calling back. I told you we're not fucking going. Pardon me if I can't. I can swear on your show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not fucking going.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave out the reason why, because that would be the only thing that they were having basically a financial discussion.
Oh, okay. So Tre's like, I'm not going because you're screwing me on the money or something.
There was an issue.
Yes.
Okay, we'll call it an issue.
Right.
Be glad to tell you after we're done.
You know what I'm glad about is that it wasn't Tre being hilarious, and I put up air quotes.
No, he was totally pissed off. In fact, both of them were completely
genuinely
pissed off.
angry.
Genuinely
Alan
angry.
and him.
No, not Alan. Just Tre.
Oh, just Tre.
Alan is. I can't get into the whole thing because
I thought you were saying that both of them were angry.
Both him and Mitch were angry.
Oh.
Alan wasn't angry.
Mitch was with him, and they were on a run together.
They were in the condo together. They had worked. They had worked at Looney's or what is now Looney's. I'm sorry, Jeff Elliot's Comedy Corner.
Right.
From Wednesday through Sunday, and this was a Monday gig, which I had picked up.
Yeah.
All right. So So I hang up the phone. Call back Alan. They still say they're not going. Look, give me 15 minutes. I'll call you. And everything will be okay. So I'm just sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
He calls back. Go ahead and call. Everything's good. I call back. Tre answers the phone. I go, hi, it's Vilmos. She said, look, what about I'm not fucking going? Do you not understand? All right, that's it for me. I'm tapping out. So I call out and I said, look, I am not calling and doing that again.
Right. I'll show up for my gig. You deal with the other two guys.
Right. I said, unless somebody, and of course I'm stupid in the sense that I still feel like now I'm responsible to get them there.
Right.
And I have to wait as long as I have to wait.
Right.
So they of course, I say, call me when it's time to go. Mm-hmm. So I get the call. And then he called me. Tre called me. Got an address.
Okay.
Went and got him. They were happy that I wasn't driving a 1985 Honda Civic. I had a van at the time.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of endeared me to them right at the beginning.
Right.
But they both get in the car.
And this is your first paid gig.
This is my first paid gig. Honest to God, keep in mind, I'm socially inept, so I wasn't good at hanging around with comics either. So I know nothing about...
All of you are social retards to begin with. And,
right.
And you're just like, it's my first gig. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm supposed to care about all of this far too much.
Right. Do I talk about gas prices, weather?
Don't bring up money because then they'll feel obligated to give me gas money. What's going to happen?
Right. So I have no idea. Mm-hmm. So we get in the car and they say nothing to me.
the entire drive.
They're not making small talk, nothing. So we're driving up through into the mountains of Colorado.
How long is this drive?
It's about a 4-hour drive.
Christ.
So Tree is sitting to the right of me, very stoically looking straight ahead in tree mode. Mm-hmm. And Mitch is behind me. Mm-hmm. And about 20 minutes in, Mitch laughs. Nobody said anything. Mitch just laughs. Then, about 5 minutes later, Mitch leans forward behind me and he goes, so, do you know anybody famous?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
That's Mitch's awkward icebreaker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I go, no, I don't know anybody famous. This is my first gig ever, and, you know. And he goes, well, Rich Molinari is related to, or knows all kinds of people. Okay. I have no idea who Rich Molinari is.
I was like, who's Rich Molinari?
I have no idea. I look over at Tree.
Uh-huh.
Nothing. He didn't even turn his head.
Right.
Nothing. Still straight ahead. 10, 15 more minutes go by. Mitch laughs again.
Right.
Nobody said anything. Leans forward. You got another, how are you booked after this show? No, this is my first show ever and I don't have anything coming up.
Right.
Well, Rich Molinari has the next 32 weeks straight booked. Still nothing from Tree, looking straight ahead. So this happens again. This is cycling. Right. And the next time it's, do you know anyone famous?
Again.
No, I don't. And I hear Rich Molinari. Rich Molinari is related to Milton Berle.
Okay.
So finally, I'm like, all right, look, what the hell's going on?
Right.
So it's explained to me that Rich Molinari was the opener and he was just like an irritating son of a bitch. During the entire week. Oh, okay. So to relieve their stress, somehow or another, it came into Mitch's mind just to fuck with me for about an hour as we're going up the
He was probably trying to cheer up Tree.
Exactly.
And entertain himself by going, remember that jackass?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that guy forever.
And I have no idea this is going on. I'm just sitting there in wonderment going, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
So then we
comics are hilarious. So that was the hilarity of comedy.
Yeah. God. So we got to the show and I mispronounced. I called him Rich Hedberg.
Oh, Rich Hedberg instead of Mitch.
Yeah, and then he spent the whole half an hour calling back to that.
Okay.
And I was mortified.
Yeah, whatever. Whenever anybody introduces me, because they're the people who give a damn.
Yeah.
Because the audience doesn't remember your name for the most part.
No.
B, care about your credits.
No.
So whenever anybody messes up my name or my credits, or whenever I tell the MC, I'm just like, you can say whatever. I mean, these are the things that would be ideal.
Yeah.
But whatever you say, I'm still going to go on stage and do my time.
Yeah.
Because that's what I get paid to do. So, I mean, it doesn't, anybody, and I'm sure Mitch was just screwing around because he was a creepy one-nighter, but,
yeah. No, I ran into him a couple other times.
Yeah.
And I always used to like to work with Mitch because he was hit or miss. And you were able to look really good sometimes.
Right.
As an opener, it's always good to look really good in front of the feature.
Sure.
And that's no disrespect to him.
No.
But Mitch had his crowd.
Right. And 92, early days, man.
Yeah.
And we all have shows where we don't do very well, and it's the way it goes, man.
Well, he was evening out whatever it was he was doing, with this thing, and it was cool. But yeah, he was.
Are you talking about drugs? Evening out doing with his thing? I
have no idea.
Oh, I do evening out with his thing?
Evening out his thing, his act.
Oh, his act. Okay. So
just evening out what he was trying to say.
Evening out, sometimes his thing was uneven and I'm like his access to drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't have any experience with the Mitch Hedberg drug experience.
Oh, you never did?
No. I was kind of off on that one. I knew it was something he was interested in.
Yes, he was always interested in some sort of mind-altering moment.
Yeah, really hard not to tell, but
I can't even remember my first paid gig was in that club in Madison, and it was $10 a week, and I did 7 shows a week. But my first road gig, I wish I could remember such a thing. I got nothing.
Oh, my first, I still have that check. I never cashed it.
I have the first, you know what? I took a copy of my check, cashed it. I did Xerox. I was like, $10 from Bill Kinnison.
I have the actual check. So, and then my first
Who signed it?
Ellen.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't Judy. But then my first road gig was with Steven Cruiser out of Tucson.
I don't know that guy.
And a guy named Vince Kern out of Denver. So
okay.
Yeah, that was weird. My first real road experience was Vince Kern going to McFrugal's, which happened to be close to the condo.
What's McFrugal's?
It's basically
Is it the thrifty Scotsman?
Ship everything, right?
Okay.
And so he had bought this quart of iced tea.
Okay.
And so he would drink some of the iced tea, and then he would fill it back up with water. And then he would just keep drinking it that way.
Yeah.
And every meal that he made, he would tell me how much it cost him. Like the burrito was 59 cents. And if you divide out how much this, I'm going to get 45.
This is all in a condo.
This is all in a condo. I'm going to get
American Public, Rangers of the Dork Forest, know this in your hearts. And it's still happening. There are condos where comics who don't know each other have to spend a week together, 4 or 5 days, sometimes 3, but whatever it is, it's too many days in a condo where you don't know the other people, and you have to, if you sit at table with them, it's like the Amish, where you sit at table and then you exchange anecdotes that you don't care.
Yeah.
And they're usually mind-numbingly, what's the name of that guy? Greg? I did a gig from Minneapolis to Minot, North Dakota. It was a week.
Oh, yeah.
And I was featuring, and his name wasn't Mike, it was Greg. He would always do a joke about how he dressed like a blackjack dealer. Because he would have this puffy white shirt with a vest. That's what he always wore on stage. And he was the biggest. You ever work with those guys who are just the biggest fucking button pusher? And 1,400 miles I drove with this guy. And he was from Atlanta or something like that originally. And so he wouldn't drive because it was winter. So I had to do the entire drive myself.
Oh, jeez.
And one time we were driving through a blizzard coming back. And it took him until Saturday to finally get him. Because all week, I picked him up, I think, on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And we drove to Minot and worked our way back. So by Saturday, he finally figured out how to make me mad. Because he just spent the entire week just needling.
Really?
Because it was funny for him. It was hilarious. And
I bet.
he was such a fucking dirtbag that by the end of it, he wasn't gross. He was just an asshole. You know, like sometimes I've worked with guys that were gross, where you're like, wow, you're disgusting. And their way to try to button push is to say foul things to women.
Right.
That's their fun game.
Right.
This guy's fun game was he wanted to discuss politics. He wanted to discuss family. He wanted to discuss social mores. And so needle. So by Saturday, he finally did it. And then the next thing he gets me to lose my temper and I tell him to fuck off or something like that.
Yeah.
And the next thing he's like, hey, will you drive me? I got to go to the dry cleaner. Because we were doing this, North Dakota, not Fargo. What's north of it? Grand Forks.
Moorhead? Oh, Grand Forks. Okay.
Grand Forks. We're in Grand Forks and we're doing the weekend, the Friday, Saturday, or the Thursday, Friday, Saturday there at the Westward Ho.
Oh, yeah. I've
Remember
heard. I never got to work it. Heard plenty about it.
Let me tell you about the best thing about the Westward Ho was that they had a pool shaped like a boot. It was shaped like a boot.
Really?
And
better than the Minot pool at the Best Western International?
Was it
the largest indoor pool in North Dakota?
Oh,
that's
really?
right.
It's the boot. The boot was the best thing. It was like an eagle hood ornament on the shittiest car in the world because the hotel was disgusting and foul, but the boot-shaped pool was the sweetest thing in the world.
Wow.
And so he asked to borrow, he goes, hey, will you drive me over? And I said, here's my keys. And I threw my keys at him.
Really?
I'm like, you can go get your own damn laundry. And, cause I just had enough. And then we had to do a 6-hour back to somewhere outside of Minneapolis. We were doing a Sunday night gig as well.
Yeah.
It was the longest week of my life. I still can't remember that dude's name, but what a dingbat.
Oh,
There's
nothing worse than a douchebag on the road trip.
Yeah. And the fascinating tale of how much they're spending on their burrito.
It was fantastic. Every meal I had an itemized description of how much it cost. And I'm just like, okay, great, man. And understand, I had another means of support.
Right.
So I didn't
What was
really.
was it the website stuff or
No,
not at the time?
no. I used to own a video store.
Okay.
And I also had a computer store and an internet service.
Okay.
And at the time that I started out, I had 4 guys working for me.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying I was rich.
Yeah.
But I was able to not have to worry about what my pay was.
Right, because if you can go on the road as an MC,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to have another income.
I did 35 weeks on the road one year as an MC.
Wow.
And didn't suffer at all financially, so to speak, for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how I started out. I mean, I was a big Funny Bone guy for a long time.
Okay, well,
I did all the bones.
That's where I'm at. That's the Cincinnati Funny Bone is what I'm doing right now. And the kid that's MCing, the guy that's MCing, I have no idea how he's making any money. There can't possibly be. I don't know what he does for a living, but it isn't stand-up comedy if this is what he's doing.
I couldn't go on the road and do 35 weeks as an MC. Now, first of all,
American Public, know that in your heart, that's about $3,500.
Yeah,
it isn't good.
No.
It might be $7,000, but it's probably closer to $5,000.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But now with gas
weeks.
prices, back then gas prices were only buck and a half.
Right, and the other weird thing about 92 is that what you get paid to MC in 1992 is exactly what you get paid to MC today.
Yeah.
I mean, the money hasn't gone up, the dollar's gone down,
Right.
and the gas has gone up.
Exactly.
So the whole thing is kind of a debacle.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody gets into stand-up comedy for the money.
No, you can't get into it for that reason. But the other, I've always lamented the biggest problem with the thing too is that now the weeks are short. I don't like the short week.
Oh, you don't want a Wednesday through Saturday or
No, I like the Wednesday through Sunday.
Right.
I like the long week because
the Tuesday through Saturday, the Wednesday through Sunday.
Yeah, because you get to learn about the town. I had favorite places to go everywhere. An opener.
Yeah.
Like in Tucson, I had favorite bookstores, favorite restaurants. At Snickers, and where Pete Lee told the awful story about the guy, and I did that gig, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did that Christmas party.
Pete and Jamie Lee were on the show, Acme 20, one of those.
Yeah, banned from the green room forever. Pete Lee is.
Or Pete?
Pete Lee is. Oh, yeah.
That's going to affect
Banned. Yeah. Well, until he comes on the show. Then he's no longer banned.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a long story. But anyway, it's...
your podcast?
My podcast. Banned.
He's banned.
Banned forever.
Pete Lee, banned.
Banned forever.
Unless he returns your email.
Unless he decides to come on.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to temporarily lift the ban.
And here's the thing.
Until he's finished. Banned again.
Just got an email from Pete Lee saying that his wife, Jamie Lee, also friend of the show, loves the show. The podcast, The Dork Forest. And then because Pete Lee is hilarious, said, know that I've been listening longer, so you should like me better.
Right.
And so
Pete Lee, good at the backhanded compliment, too, I bet.
And so, Pete, we're talking about you. Why don't you give Vilmos an email? Why don't you get him back?
Yeah.
It's a call-in show, buddy.
Yeah,
there you go.
It
could happen anytime.
He's in big trouble.
Yeah.
It's all started on the radio, too. Oh, he knows.
Oh, does he know?
Yeah, banned him on his Twitter account, too.
Oh. Yeah. Did you block him?
Oh, no. I would never block Pete Lee. Then I can't communicate with him. Now,
right, then he would never know.
That's exactly right. But anyway, it was nice that you could get like a flavor of the place.
Right.
That you could have local kind of hangouts and things to look forward to.
Right.
Because to me, that was all part of the comedy thing. Plus, I like the condo experience better than the hotel experience, and a lot of comics don't like that.
I'll tell you something. You are the biggest road dog in the way that you're still driving around the country.
I am.
You're doing shitty one-nighters in addition to weekend rooms. You are living in condos.
Yep.
And those are the people that you talk to on Green Room Radio.
Yes, it is. I talk to guys.
And you celebrate that experience.
I do, because here's the thing.
But it's not like you aren't an alcoholic, right? Are you?
I don't drink.
You don't drink?
I don't do drugs.
You don't do drugs? What do you do?
You
spend 8 hours driving town to town doing stand-up comedy like it's 1917. And
I do.
You get there. What do you do during the day? What's
Well, my day is actually filled with web stuff anymore. Because I do the websites.
Work. Yeah.
I work during the day. I read.
Okay. What do you read? Me.
Yeah,
I'm doing some reading.
You're much more eclectic than I am. I would say.
Well, I'll read some crap, but I'll also read some literature.
But you read the romance novels.
I'll read
an
occasional romance novel.
I think that's the crap you're referring to.
Yeah, that's the crap. But I'll also read. I just finished that terrible that mystery. The Milwaukee Summers Can Be Deadly. Someone handed me that one.
Okay, see, I like the mystery. Carl Hyacin.
Carl
one of
Hyacin.
my favorite guys.
No.
Oh, fantastic author. Carl Hiaasen.
Is it a series? Is it
Yeah, start with the beginning, tourist season.
Okay.
Fantastic book.
Okay.
And he's the guy that wrote, I can't remember.
Did it get optioned or something?
No, he had one movie out. And
Okay.
I'll tell you, we'll figure out what it is afterwards.
Yeah.
And then, I've read every one of the Clancys.
Oh, Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy, of course. That's kind of mandatory. T.C. Boyle. Now he's too smart for me.
Is he?
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen him in the bookstores and I haven't picked him up. But it's like Kuntz. I think of T.C. Boyle and Dean Kuntz sort of together. Am I wrong?
I don't know Kuntz.
You don't know Kuntz. Okay.
But Boyle wrote The Road to Wellville, which was made into a movie.
Okay.
Matthew Broderick.
Never.
Yeah.
But
really very strange movie.
Okay.
Because he's a very eclectic guy as well.
Are they scary?
No.
Are they horror?
No, he goes into irony. He's big on irony.
Oh,
so if you like
they're kind of
ironic
fun?
stuff, yeah, a good book to his, to start with would be The Tortilla Curtain.
Okay.
So he's a good guy.
Okay.
And then, boy.
Because I like a murder mystery where it's also kind of funny, and it doesn't have to be super funny. It just has to be, it has a funny edge to it. Like I've read all the Spencer for Hire novels.
Oh, that's what's his
Parker?
name? Parker.
Parker.
I've read Parker.
Right.
But yes, what T.C. Boyle's good at, aside from the English language, which means you kind of sometimes got to read him with a dictionary.
Oh, he's a little bit of a smart guy?
Yeah, he's a very smart guy,
All right.
and
that'll be good. Then you'll learn a new word.
I don't want to learn any new words. I'd rather not, but I do like the books, and sometimes they're like just totally over my head.
Okay.
But I still
name one that's over your head.
World's End. The World's End.
You didn't. That one was a hard one to get through.
It was Riven Rock was another one, very hard to get through. Great short stories though. He writes. He's a Penn Faulkner award-winning author.
Okay.
And he writes.
Have you ever
books
tried to read Faulkner?
No.
There's a challenge.
I would never do that. I don't even pretend to think I'm intelligent enough to even give that a...
Let me tell you something. People make fun of Mississippi. You know where Faulkner was from? Mississippi. That's right.
I listen to the program.
You listen.
Sometimes I don't just shut it off after I hear my name. A lot of times that's what I do, but not always.
Now, there's some sort of aid here? What do you got?
Yeah, I got to look up the name of... I'm not great with names.
Okay.
Now, John Sanford.
Right.
All the Prey.
Okay.
You should read him. He's a Minneapolis guy.
Is he scary, though?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Not scary. I don't
don't
read
do
scary.
horror?
No.
Okay.
Mystery.
Just straight mystery?
Almost.
Or a little bit of thriller? I'll go into some thriller, like those Ross Thomas books I was reading for a while.
Yeah, never.
Well, there's so many people that are writing they're kind of pulp mystery or they're pulp fiction, like all the Tom Clancy, Stephen King, all of those guys.
Don't read King either.
Right, I've never read any of that either. There's just too many of them to some extent, because I tend to read by author.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, you start and then you're like, well, I guess I'm in.
Yeah.
Until I can't. Like Terry Pratchett, read 10 of them, maybe 14.
Yeah.
There's 35. I don't know when I'll get to the rest of them, but I'm going to do it. It'll all work out.
Well, I buy all my books used too.
Oh.
See, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I like to hold on to them. I collect books.
Do you love to find a used bookstore when you go to a new
Every
town?
place I go, I find a used
That's the first
bookstore.
thing.
I can give you...
Yeah?
I give it.
How about
I can
here,
hook you
Cincy?
up.
How about Cincy?
Never been
Anything?
to Cincinnati.
Okay, me
So,
neither. This is it.
If I'm here for longer than
Just a day. Yeah.
Like St. Joseph's got some great bookstores. Tucson, Bookman's.
Oh, Bookman's, that's a chain,
fantastic.
right? That's a big.
Well, it's three there.
There's three there.
They're
and
the
then
size of Barnes and Nobles.
They're huge.
They're massive, fantastic,
but locally
bookstores.
owned and sort of new and used, right? Or just used?
Just used.
Just used. Okay.
And it's like walking around a Barnes and Noble. So I have a list.
Because they're organized, right?
Right.
Because that's my least favorite used bookstore in the entire world is some jackass who didn't alphabetize.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I can't. I don't like a sale rack for clothes.
Yeah.
I don't like an unorganized
No.
bookstore.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's a nightmare to me.
So yeah, no. So I have a list of books that I want.
Yeah.
Authors, I fill them in.
Okay.
So like once I get hooked on John Sanford,
right?
I have every one of the Prey novels.
Oh, you put it on the list, and then you tick them off?
I tick them off.
That's a nice
I buy
sense
them,
of
and then I read them.
Okay.
And then, I have my bookcase. I have a wall the size of this room that's like completely filled with nothing but books.
Right.
And I honestly, I'm kind of weird about it. I read them once.
Yeah.
That's it.
And yet you keep them.
I keep them.
And
I like first editions. I don't want...
Hardcover?
Oh no, hardcover first editions. That's what I have. I don't want to.
Interesting.
I don't like to lend them out.
Yeah.
Even the lovely Shannon, who I love dearly. She doesn't. She doesn't even ask
Is that
to
your
read the
girlfriend?
books. Yeah, Shannon. Very
Well,
nice.
don't you guys
girl.
live together?
Loves to read.
She cannot touch your books.
Oh no, she could touch them.
Okay.
I mean, I think she's gotten to the point where she
you
would
live
feel
together.
comfortable. Oh yeah,
She could grab a book if she wanted off the library
but she
wall.
doesn't.
She does not.
Well, it's not because I don't want her to, but I have this thing. Even when I read a book,
Yeah.
I'm very conscious about not like
Breaking the
bending
binding
spine
or-
or
okay.
any of that stuff. I like them to be, no edges ripped on the
Right.
jacket, that kind of
Okay.
stuff. So if somebody reads a book, like as much as I like you or
Yeah.
any of my other friends,
Sure.
if I wanted you to have a book, I would buy you your own book and then I give you a book.
Okay.
That's always the way that I do
It's
it.
just a better way to go.
Because then there's no
'Cause then you
stress
get it
for
back,
me.
'cause
Because
there's
I have
stress.
a connection with that book.
Okay.
I've read that book. I can look at that book and say, I read that book. I carried it with me through 5 states.
Right. I know what that book is about.
I know it. It's like a mark of completion.
Okay.
If that's
That's your sense of accomplishment.
kind of.
Yeah.
So, that's what I do with the books. Now, I've been trying to get down with the Kindle.
Oh, right.
I can't do it.
Well, there's
nothing to
very
keep.
little sense of accomplishment with a Kindle.
Yeah, there's
it's not
nothing
as
to keep. It's just, to me, it's another computer file, and I don't care about that.
right. And I have the Kindle app for my. Is that
Yeah.
what you're rocking? A Kindle app
I have the Kindle app on my iPad.
on your. That's what I have. I don't like. I don't want to read a book on the computer because of the backlighting and It's not fun for me.
Well, and it's not. You can't get comfortable. You can't sit in the corner of the couch and hold the book.
It is harder to
and that
get
kind of stuff.
comfortable. Yeah,
With a computer.
I can curl up with a book. For some reason,
Exactly.
I cannot curl up with my iPad.
Yeah.
I've tried to curl up with my iPad. It doesn't take.
No, there's just different ways to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm total. I guess I would be into the books a little
Yeah.
more than I think. But Jack Reacher novels.
No.
See, I'm trying to remember.
How do you spell Reacher?
Reacher.
Like Reacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
First one's The Killing Floor. I
Okay.
remember that. But those are great novels too.
Okay.
But that's the kind of books I read.
Okay.
Autobiographies occasionally.
Oh, really? That's the nonfiction when you go nonfiction?
Yeah, if I'm going that way, it's an autobiography. I'd like to find a couple, and then short stories occasionally, like Steve Martin
I
stuff.
have a hard time with short stories, though I'm not bad with those, the sort of the true essays kind of one. Like I read, well, I'm reading right now the Cool, Calm, and Contentious, Meryl Marco's book that John Matta recommended a couple episodes ago.
Okay.
And it's hilarious. She used to be the head writer on Letterman.
Okay.
And she dated Letterman for several years. And she created a lot of his Man on the Street. She created some of that.
Oh.
Like all of those segments, like the top 10 list.
Yeah.
That was her.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, and they were together, I have no idea, 8-10 years or something.
Okay.
She actually, I just tweeted at her and I was like, would you want to? Because the book is so freaking funny. It's called Cool, Calm, and Contentious. And she was on The Daily Show. And which was the first time I had heard of the book because Jon Stewart had read it and was psyched about it.
Yeah.
And then John Matta was on with his wife, Rosie Abdu. He's a big, The Thing, Ben Grimm.
Yeah, yeah.
That was his dorkdom. He has over 300 statues. And she makes tiny clay food and, does tiny pottery.
Really?
Yeah. They're the most, when you look at when you hear that one and there'll be some graphics attached to it, you'll be amazed. There's like an angel hair pasta with shrimp. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Done the size of a quarter. She's got bagel lox, red onion.
Really?
Completely amazing.
And you've
All
seen
done.
them? You got to see them?
Yeah. She brought a box of them. And
Do you have to look at them with a magnifying glass?
No, she decided not to go magnifying glass. She doesn't use a magnifying glass, she
Okay.
said. And then she was talking about how she had seen somebody did like the Last Supper on a bean. And she was like, I thought I did tiny things, but that's truly tiny.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
That
I don't want to look at something through a microscope.
No.
This is amazing. The thing that's a quarter, that's awesome to
Well,
me.
that's like the guys that do the rice paint.
right.
The name on the rice.
Yeah.
I knew a dude that made balloons out of light bulbs. If you look up Balloonatics, that's the name of the company.
Yeah.
He's dead now. I think he passed away.
Right.
But he would take balloons. I used to do his computer work. That's how I met him. And he would take balloons and paint them on the inside
Okay.
Or bulbs, used light bulbs, clear ones. And he would paint stuff on the inside. I've got a couple of them. They're just absolutely beautiful. And then he would
do art on the inside of light bulbs?
He would do any art on the inside of light bulbs. And then he would encase them like with the stuff that looked like the lines in that and the little basket underneath, where they would be either copper or some sort of metal. They would look like a regular, like, hot air balloon. And he would get light bulbs that were old street lamp bulbs that were like the size of this table.
Right.
And he would make stuff out of that. Balloonatics. And you'd be able to see some of the art probably, on the internet. But they would go from, he would hire artists and they would have to teach them how to paint backwards.
Well, yeah, you'd have to paint inside out and backwards and
exactly.
turned around.
It's so cool. And they're just beautiful things. But I have two that he gave me when I was working for him.
Oh, that's neat.
So I keep those.
That is neat.
Yeah. So weird stuff.
Huh. People are amazing. People are genuinely amazing.
Well, and you find those kind of people on your show all the time. I'm very envious sometimes of the guests that you have.
Of the guests that did you listen to the train one? Did you like the train one?
I love the train. I was mesmerized the whole time. Now,
those guys are amazing to me.
Yeah.
Because I loved what he said about them being the 1% of the model train dorks.
Exactly.
They were like dorks among dorks.
Oh, I would love to.
Hi, Fritz. He's listening. Say hi to Leslie.
No, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with the train stuff. I have an O gauge thing that I'm trying to put together.
What is that?
Look, O gauge. It's N gauge, HO, and an O. And I think they were dealing with HO gauge.
Okay, is that a train talk?
That's size.
Oh, it's the size
small,
of the
medium, large.
Oh, in the world of model trains?
Yeah, in the world of model trains.
Fair
and
enough.
then honestly, there's a smaller size and probably there's a bigger size.
Sure.
Too.
And then there's the ones that you ride in.
And then there's the ones that you ride in. Yeah. I would love to have like an actual
your own
caboose
train.
Or something.
You know what? I think one of his friends bought a caboose. Why wouldn't he? I mean, it's like...
That'd be cool. When I used to love trains so much, we would get on the Chicago Northwestern, and when I lived in Chicago.
Okay.
In 1969, I was, how old was I in 69? 12 years old.
Okay.
We would take it down to Union Station, downtown Chicago.
Okay.
Change over. We take it down to the station, go to Union Station, get on the Santa Fe, on the railroad, on the Santa Fe Chief, and take it down to Joliet.
Okay.
And then get off and then pick up the train coming back up. I was 12 years old.
Just as a fun thing to do?
Just to ride on the trains and just to kind of be
Let's go right
involved
on the trains
in that.
and also get away from the house.
Take all the pictures and all that stuff. My mom had no idea where we were.
Right.
Right.
But that was the 60s and the 70s. Oh, my parents never knew where I was. They were just like, you got to be back by 5:30.
Right.
Oh, wait, 5 o'clock. And every minute that you were late in my family, you were grounded a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never had that.
Because if Nancy was my stepmother, was like, you have to be back at 5 because dinner's at 5:30, and I need you to wash up, be chilled out enough to sit down at dinner with the family at 5:30. So you got to be in by 5. And for every minute that you were late, you were grounded a day.
Huh.
And made you on time. I am to this day very, very prompt. And good work is being done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what?
But she didn't care where I was from like 3 to 5. And then after dinner, 6:37 till 9, I could go and be out and about at a certain age.
Well, even with phones, my kids, I want to know where they were every minute.
Yeah, everybody needs to know where everybody is now.
It's so crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not good.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure whatever you're doing with your kids out there, good for you. But I'm fine. I think kids are incredibly resilient.
Well, you kind of shelter them. You can over-shelter them.
How many kids do you have?
3.
3? And how old are they?
The youngest is 21.
Okay.
Oldest is 24.
Okay, so they're grown-ups.
They're grown up and gone, and
to some extent, right?
No, they're gone.
Are they gone?
Yeah, gone.
Like people?
Like
with
people.
Jobs, and they're not going to move back?
Yeah, they're not coming. Yeah.
They're not living with their mom or anything?
No, No.
Nice work.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I guess, huh? You did something right.
No, I don't know about that. We'll find out. I guess however things turn out for them, then they'll know.
Meryl Marco was just talking about how, because she lives in Los Angeles as well, just talking about how we have an entire 2 generations now of just adolescents that have decided. Her line was so great. It was like, they don't have enough credits to matriculate into adulthood. It's an entire generation of people who don't think they have enough credits to matriculate into high school, into adulthood. They just think they're kids. They're like 40's young. And you're like, yeah, if you're going to live to be 120.
Yeah.
But most people die around 80. So
Yeah.
I think you're halfway done.
I think nobody's in a big hurry to get started.
Right.
These days.
There's a lot of that happening, too.
Yeah, they're still searching. I mean,
stalling.
Look, when I was 18, I was out.
Yeah.
I expected I was going to be leaving.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my parents weren't holding the door open for me.
My parents held the door for us.
Okay, well,
there you go.
Everybody had a little different situation.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, that worked out okay. But my goal was, I knew that 18, I was hitting the mark. That was it. I'm gone.
Yep.
And I didn't want to stay home.
No.
It was a part of my emancipation, part of becoming an adult and a man and all that. You don't stay at home when you're 18.
Well, you also, there was no reason for me to stay. I mean, there was I spent most of my junior high and high school years wandering the streets of South Milwaukee because there was nothing happening at home. You were just that's why my brother Russ was just talking about how we were all so into extracurricular activities because you were well, if you go home, they're just going to put you to work or yell at you.
Yeah.
So you might as well join a club or the band or be in the play. Because my sister was in both orchestra and band. She was the manager of the swim team and she was student council president. And my brother Russ was the manager of the football team, was student council vice president, not president, golden child. And also was on 2 or 3 other committees and all these things. I was editor of the school newspaper, in the band, in student council, never ran for office. Always wanted to be the power behind.
Did you?
The Karl Rove.
You like to be the behind the curtain?
Well,
Pay no attention.
What do they call the journalists that are supposed to be the watchdogs of there's an actual word for it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Nothing? Okay.
No, sorry.
But everybody in my family had 9 curricular activities just so that they could get home late and then leave early.
See, I gave up on the school experience because I got gypped. I went to Catholic high school.
Yeah.
And the only thing I was interested in was band.
Okay.
No band.
Oh, no. You were interested in
None.
not being. Oh, they didn't have a band.
They didn't have a band. Band was what I lived to play music.
Do you
still
play
music to this day?
What instrument?
There's a couple.
Yeah.
I started out playing flute. I wanted to be a drummer.
Okay.
But it was too loud for Dad. So I started playing flute when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And then when I got to
too loud for your dad. I will give this to my parents, is that they were everybody has to play an instrument, and they sat through beginning violin.
Wow.
And I played clarinet, and my brother Russ played flute, and my brother, I think Phil, played trombone, and so, I mean, at the very least, they were willing to do it. They would send us out in the garage sometimes if the weather was all right.
Oh, okay.
But so you played flute.
I played flute, then I got to 7th grade.
Right.
And didn't think it was manly enough to play the flute anymore.
Oh.
So what I was doing was I was playing.
Too sissy.
I was too sissy, and then I got in with a band director who taught me how to play tuba, baritone, and trombone.
Okay.
So then I played flute in one band, and I played big brass in the other one.
Okay.
Because I had 2.
Right.
And then I hit to high school, and then everything went to hell.
Because there was
nothing there. So I had I was left without purpose.
Right.
So I kept playing anyway. And then as soon as I turned 18 and moved out of the house, I bought a set of drums.
Okay.
And then I've been playing drums ever since.
You know what I like to do? Bring that up, minute 48.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know.
It's a classic, though. It's a classic.
I'm a total,
Forest.
and I am kind of a total drum geek too.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I have very
so 18.
Strong
You
opinions.
buy your first.
I buy my first set of drums and I start taking lessons.
Right.
And it's
you take lessons.
I've taken lessons for many years. And I would still not consider myself a really good drummer.
Right.
But I really like to I like listening. All my music is bought basically based on the drum tracks.
And the beats, man.
Yeah, I can't listen to music when I work because I focus too much on the rhythms and what the guys are doing. I can listen to talk radio because
do you like a drum and bugle corps? Do you enjoy
the
that?
drum and bugle corps are cool. I really like the drum cadences and all that kind of stuff. But no, I like rock. I like rock drumming. Okay. What style?
Yeah.
I like guys that are clean and simple. Like, a real good Tre Cool who plays, drums for, Green Day. Okay. Fantastic drummer. Okay. Doesn't get anywhere near the accolades. And I don't like I'm sure there are going to be people that would yell at me when I say this, but I'm not impressed with some of the big ones. Who are
John
Bonham.
Never heard of him. Who is he?
Led Zepplin.
Okay.
Great drummer. I'm not going to argue that he's not a good drummer.
Right.
You know, he certainly is, but not my flavor.
It was a Led Zeppelin song that Paul Greenberg did. He did a drum solo. He did a mime piece at Largo one time where he did all of the drum motions.
Really?
Of some Led Zeppelin song in miniature. It was again
really?
tiny. Yeah. So
I actually have a closer that I wrote that I've performed with several times that actually involves drumming.
Oh, really?
I actually have a set of electronic drums that
you bring up on stage
that I would put on stage and that I actually work with, but I just don't want to schlep them. That's the only reason I'm not in a band. I don't want to. I probably would have
There's a lot of heavy lifting in a band.
I would have been a musician, honestly, if it wouldn't have been for my choice of instruments.
Okay.
Because in a band, the problem is you can't. First of all, you're carrying all the shit,
right?
As a drummer,
yeah,
and then you got to get along with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Two things I'm not really crazy
about. It's a team sport, that being in a band business.
Yeah. No, so there's, but even another guy that I like, Rick Allen, drummer for
Rick Allen?
Yeah, Rick Allen, drummer for, why am I not, I can remember all their albums, High and Dry. Somebody's yelling at the iPod right now.
Yep. High and Dry is the name of the
High and Dry is the name of one of the albums.
What's another album?
Pyromania is another one. Hysteria is another one.
Men at Work?
No. God. It's killing me. I hear this all the time, and now it's happened to me. I want to die right now. Let me
tell you something about music and Jackie Kashian. Men at Work. What else?
I know.
What else should I talk about?
You're a big music
Rush?
dork.
What about that other band from Australia?
You're really killing me right now.
It's
I'm gonna hate
Styx.
myself. I've ran the race. I've fallen down in front of the finish line. That's what I've done, Jackie.
I'll put it in the notes. And right now, everybody is sitting at home going, "No, I know what he means."
Yeah, they do.
So it's all good.
Def Leppard. Thank you.
Def Leppard, the guy with one arm?
Yeah. Fantastic drummer.
Right.
He really is. He plays with his feet.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I saw a thing on 60 Minutes once where a kid didn't have either arm, and he did everything with his feet. He'd eat. It was pretty great.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, watching this guy hammer out everything with his feet and his one arm.
Does he play with 2 feet?
He plays with both of his feet and his right arm.
And his right arm.
And his right arm. Okay. And what he's done, he's cheating a little bit because he's got some samples. So, like, if he wants to hit the drum and
people lose an arm, they start being cheaters.
Well, I'll say this. Def Leppard, coolest guys on the planet. I give him this because he lost his arm. Right. He's the drummer for the band.
Right.
They're all like 21, 22-ish.
Right.
When this happens.
Yep.
Now, we all know what we were like when we were 21, 22.
Tool bags of society.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Why didn't they go to the hospital and go, dude, we love you.
You'll always get residuals.
Yeah, but
you'll get royalties.
Dude, we just can't use you anymore. Instead, they go, hey, if you say you can figure it out, we'll wait.
Yeah.
And they go on to have the biggest album they ever had.
Okay.
Their Hysteria tour was the biggest tour they ever did.
Okay.
And actually, the guy that Joe, they're
in the band?
Yeah, Joe. Anyway, he's their lead singer.
Okay.
He's like, the dude had to lose an arm to become a great drummer because his drumming actually did get better.
Oh, did it?
Yes. So
are there new bands what are your current favorite in the world?
My current favorite drummers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like I told you, I like everybody from the dude that drums for see, here we go.
That's all right.
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Okay.
Although I have trouble listening to him now because he was arrested for sexual like pedophile stuff.
Oh.
So I can't. That affects me.
Arrested, but not convicted.
No, convicted.
Oh, convicted.
Yeah. Convicted.
That is bad.
And all that stuff bugs me.
Well, yeah.
The dude.
Yeah, it's hard to. I can't watch an Angelina Jolie show.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, a movie.
Yeah.
Show, really. But and I know that I would love, because she's a great action hero. I hear that all of her, like Salt and Tomb Raider and all of those, because I'll watch crap. But I haven't seen I haven't seen a Woody Allen movie since Hannah and Her Sisters.
Yeah, well, that'd be a tough one to support him. I mean, you can't. I have a hard time supporting guys that do that kind of stuff.
Well, it just gets kind of creepy to me that you're like, well, your life choices. I guess I shouldn't know about them. I'd rather not know, like the Tom Cruise kind of. When you go crazy and it's because of your religion, or because of your personal life, I guess it shouldn't affect me. But we live in this too much information era where I'm given too much. I don't want.
Oh, I totally agree. It was a better day when you could just watch something and
just
accept
let
it
it go.
for face value
Yeah.
of what it was
Bing
and
Crosby,
enjoy it.
an excellent, fun guy to watch do a movie,
Yeah.
supposedly beat his children. And so for many years, I had a hard time watching a Bing Crosby movie. And then I was like, you got to let it go. He's dead. They've moved on. And you might as well. And so, I mean, there's part of me that wants to see, there's supposed to be good Woody Allen movies after Hannah and her sisters.
Of course. Of course. Well, yeah, what are you going to do, though?
Right.
I didn't drop AC/DC when they got rid of Phil Rudd.
But
even
you
though
thought
that was
about it?
horrible.
You thought about it?
Absolutely.
I've had enough
But I
of you.
waited. He came back.
Oh, did you? What about Van Halen?
Alex Van Halen, great drummer. Not very good in the early years,
Okay.
but really came into his own. Actually, with the Sammy Hagar stuff.
Okay.
By the way, you know the thing, right? Bigger sales. Sammy Hagar or
Eddie?
no,
David Lee?
David Lee Roth. Which
are
which
better?
is bigger? No, bigger
I would
sales.
guess David Lee Roth.
No, Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar.
Bigger band once they got to Sammy Hagar.
You know the only
More
thing I know
sales.
about him? Guy can't drive 55.
Nope, he sure can't. And he makes a wicked tequila.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
He
Cabo
makes his own
Wabo.
tequila?
Cabo Wabo, isn't that his tequila?
Is that his brand of tequila?
I think so.
My knowledge of the distilling practices is also not as thorough as you might think.
I like the tequila, but I don't go out of my way to drink it.
Sure. Well, you'll like the feature guy tonight. He does a whole chunk on tequila.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's got a little jokey joke about it.
Oh, nice.
His name is Rod Paulette. That's the guy featuring. And then a guy named DJ Dangle.
DJ Dangle. Sounds fantastic.
Well, he's got to address it, and he does.
Does he?
Yeah, he has to. His name's Dangle. What he does not address, and he told me afterwards, is that his brother's name is Peter Dangle.
Really?
Who does that?
Someone that really just isn't thinking at all.
Right.
I mean,
I did when I used to canvas, when I used to go door to door and do sales. I actually went up to a woman's house. Her name was Gay Cox, C-O-X.
Oh my goodness.
And her first name was Gay. Who's doing that?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the Jackie Cation show.
That's right. You haven't seen the long set in a while.
I haven't seen the long set, and I hired you, and I hired you against my normal hiring practices.
Because you had never
Remember
seen
that?
the long set.
No, because you wanted to close, and I
Right.
told you I had to see 45 minutes.
Right.
And good for you. You said, look, I got the special.
Right, the
and
half-hour
you
special.
can
Because I was
see
in like
half an hour.
203 or 4, or I don't know when I worked Wits End. Was that 2005 maybe?
Yeah. And you weren't crappy about it. You just
No.
said, and you said,
I
look,
said
this
either
is-
way by you.
This is what I have.
Right.
And I don't have and I said, okay, because I really liked the 30 minutes.
Right.
I thought it was fantastic. Right.
Right.
Or 28 or whatever.
It would be 22. But the crazy thing is with a half-hour special, with most comics, you could tell if they do the road or how tight it is, if they've got more time. If you end up watching a 20, 30-minute set, you're just like, is that all you got? Because you can even tell with half-hour specials, if someone's just doing a lot of sort of in-town 10-minute sets, or if they're doing road and they've culled this down to 22 minutes. So
well, and I knew you were
good
going
of
to
you
be.
to see.
I knew you were going to be good.
Yeah.
But I had promised the guy that was managing the club that I would see every minute. So remember, I told you.
yeah, that
Don't
guy,
tell anybody. Oh, he's a worthless dick.
Well, and the weird thing
but-
about that guy was that he puts all of this time and energy into your job. And then his job was, well, I'm going to go to Costco and buy taquitos and then charge $6 for them. That'll make me want to I couldn't even eat there.
Look, I don't
it was
even
a
want
dumb
to talk
club.
to you about
Anyway.
how bad he was. But the good
I
news.
did that club because I have a friend in Denver that I could stay with.
Well, the good byproduct of
Yeah.
it was I got to meet Jackie Cation, folks. That
and
was
I got
the
to meet
best thing.
Vilmos, and it was a lovely thing.
Yeah.
Oh man,
and it's
that'd
been
be great
60
if
minutes.
that would have been it. It's been 58:30. Good call, buddy.
58.
So people should listen to Green Room Radio because what you do is you interview road comics.
I interview
You'll
road
interview
comics.
anybody, right? Or any comics, right?
I interview mostly headliners.
Okay.
I'm trying to branch out because I need
But you
to.
would interview if Proops wanted to be on the show, or like if it would
You
be
know
like
who's your big get for the show? Yours.
mine?
Yeah, who's your big get?
Well, because of the rarity, it would be Bamford, my best friend.
Okay. Well, see,
But
she
I don't
owes
know.
me one. Maria Bamford.
Sure,
Osenwald.
also on the block list
I understand
until she says
she's-
yes.
But
She-
I missed her when she came into Laughs, and I was so disappointed.
Right.
My big get, Billy Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr.
I would love to have the Bill Burr, but I just am afraid to even ask because
The only long set I saw him do was him struggling, and I could tell. It made me laugh only because I was just sitting there going, you people, this is amazing stuff. And he is working his ass off for you.
I worked with him for a
great
week.
comic.
Worked with him for a week in South Bend at the old Funny Bone there.
Sounds like dancing.
Aside from that,
Yeah.
I do other podcasts.
Right.
I do the one called The Antagonists.
Oh, that's right. Where you
with,
and there's another young comic.
Gino Biscani at Comic Con in New York.
Right.
We bring up current topics, and I try to figure out which one really pisses him off.
Oh, the
to send him off
Antagonist?
to send him off on this huge tangent. So normally it
like
takes
politics or social stuff?
It can be
or
anything. One time,
Snooki or something?
yeah,
or
like
anything?
next week, since he won't hear this.
Yeah.
Next week I'm teeing him up on American Stuffers because he hates stupid reality shows.
What's American stuff?
Well, that's going to be the gag. Guess what it's about.
I don't know.
Well, it'll irritate him just because he got to guess, but
Right.
it's about guys who stuff animals.
Taxidermists?
Yes, which is totally worthless, but it serves a purpose because I can
Who
bring
knew
up.
that taxidermy was still... The PETA are like, don't stuff them. And you're like, yeah, but you love your dog so much. It has insurance. Wouldn't you want to stuff your dog and keep it?
Yeah, their ad is some guy picking up his dog. And so he's petting it.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to put it in the house.
Yeah.
So it's like laying down next to the chair. Then you see it strapped on the back of his motorcycle on the way out. Fantastic. Now, then I do the Mentorist. This is the shameless plug time, folks.
Right. This is it.
The Mentorist is the one that I do with Alex Falcone.
Okay,
Who's
who's
out
a
of
young
Portland.
comic.
Young comic, 2
Right.
years. Fantastic comic. But really not understanding road work and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So basically the show is...
I'm in Portland, by the way, in March.
He's
going to
come see you.
Okay.
You'll get to meet the Falcone.
Meet the young man?
He's a great kid.
Okay.
Very funny.
Good.
Really talented. But he doesn't know the business of comedy.
So you're essentially telling him the horror story so that he's prepared for when he goes
one
out?
tragedy after another. Look, here's where I should have shut my hole, but this is what I did. And here we go. Yeah. So then there's, I do one with Dale Jones, and that's an occasional one, but
5 podcasts.
5 podcasts, but I have more on the platform. I have a guy, Gino Biscani does his own called Gino's Picks.
Oh, so the forum off of your website.
Yeah. Gino's Picks is one he does every week that he does NFL picks.
So what
and
should people
talks about
Google if they just want to find all this stuff?
Greenroomradio.net. .net. They go there every.
Okay.
And then I got a couple more guys that are coming on. So I'm trying to create this place where comics can do their thing.
Right.
They can feel like, people, they can get on a platform where people might listen, and people can go to this thing knowing that there's going to be a little bit of humor.
Interesting or something.
Yeah. So I think comics are the most interesting people.
I like it. And on that note, I say we call it. Vilmos, thank you for doing the show.
Oh, are you kidding me? Thank you for everything you do
thanks
here.
For being on the thanks for doing my website.
Oh, I love the website. That's a whole nother show if you want to do geekdom on web stuff.
There'll be another
We'll talk
day.
about the HTML code and the closing tag.
Right. Listen to the Mexican hat dance. Good night.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?